She is kind. She is loyal. She is present. He has a job, a home, maybe children. From the outside, his life looks complete. But at night, when the house becomes quiet, he feels something he cannot explain. A restlessness, a low dissatisfaction, like standing at a table full of food and still feeling hungry. He scrolls through his phone. He notices a message from a woman he barely knows. He does not act on it. Not yet. But the thought is there, and he hates himself for it, because he does love his partner. That part is real. So why does this feeling exist? Why can one devoted, beautiful, real woman sometimes feel like not enough? Let's start somewhere uncomfortable. Some men are deeply pulled toward novelty, not because they are evil, not because they do not love their families, but because novelty gives the brain a rush. Attention feels exciting. Admiration feels powerful. Being desired by someone new can feel like proof that he still matters. But here's the problem. A man may crave variety, while his soul craves depth. His body may chase excitement, while his heart wants peace. And many men never learn how to understand that conflict. They just feel restless. They just feel tempted. They just feel guilty. And instead of asking what the hunger really means, they keep feeding it with the wrong things. Here is something people rarely admit. Many men do not actually want more women. They want more feeling. They want to feel wanted. They want to feel seen. They want to feel alive. Think about what happens in a long relationship. At the beginning, there is electricity. There are long looks. There is curiosity. There is desire in the eyes. But over time, life becomes routine. Bills, children, work, stress, responsibilities. The hunger in her eyes may soften into comfort. She may still love him deeply, but she stops looking at him like someone she is discovering and starts looking at him like someone she is used to. Slowly, quietly, he stops feeling seen. He provides. He protects. He shows up. But no one says, "I see how hard you are trying." No one says, "I still admire you." No one says, "You are enough." Then another woman smiles at him differently. A stranger laughs at his joke. An old flame sends a message. A colleague makes him feel interesting again. And something inside him lights up. Not because that woman is better, but because she makes him feel better. Desired. Relevant. Alive. Sometimes he does not want her. He wants the version of himself he feels around her. And that is where many men get lost. There is also a dangerous season in a man's life. The season when he becomes successful. He builds something. A business. A reputation. A career. A following. And as his world expands, more people notice him. More women admire him. Some see only the polished version, the confident version, the successful version. They do not know his fears. They do not know his failures. They do not know his silent doubts at 3 a.m. And that can become intoxicating. Not because those women are better than his partner, but because around them he feels less exposed. At home, his wife sees all of him. The stress, the weakness, the mistakes, the real man. And sometimes, a man runs from being truly known, because being fully seen is terrifying. Novelty offers a comfortable lie. It tells him he can be someone new, someone exciting, someone untouched by history, someone who has not disappointed anyone yet. But that feeling is temporary, because wherever he goes, he takes himself with him. Now let's talk about emotional loneliness. There are men living inside marriages who are deeply lonely, not because their partners are cruel, not because love has completely died, But because somewhere between routine and responsibility, they stopped really talking. The conversations became logistics. Pick up the kids. Pay the bill. What's for dinner? Did you call the plumber? And slowly, the relationship became functional, but not intimate. He is not abandoned. But he feels invisible. So he searches, sometimes not physically, sometimes emotionally. A woman online who asks how his day was and actually waits for the answer. A coworker who laughs at his jokes like they still matter. A stranger who treats him like he still has something to offer. And suddenly, that small attention feels like oxygen. Not because he needed another woman, but because he needed connection. And he did not know how to ask for it where it mattered most. This is where fantasy becomes dangerous. The mind can create a version of life that does not exist. A fantasy where the other woman is always calm, always exciting, always understanding, always available. She does not carry the history. She does not remember the broken promises. She does not know his flaws yet. She only exists in the best light. And reality cannot compete with that. Reality has tired mornings, unpaid bills, misunderstandings, boredom, growth, responsibility. Reality is real. Fantasy is a drug. It promises relief, but it delivers emptiness. And many men discover too late. They were not running towards something. They were running from themselves. And here is the truth that can change everything. The problem was never that one woman was not enough. The problem was that he did not understand what he was actually hungry for. He thought he wanted novelty, but he wanted aliveness. He thought he wanted admiration, but he wanted significance. He thought he wanted another woman, but he wanted to feel like a man again. Purposeful, respected, strong, alive. But those things cannot be borrowed from outside attention. They do not live in another woman's eyes. They do not live in secret messages. They do not live in conquest. They live inside the work a man does on himself, in the courage to say, I feel invisible and I do not know why. In the discipline to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. In the decision to stop outsourcing his self-worth. To stop measuring his value through admiration. To stop needing attention to feel real. There is a wound at the center of this conversation. The male ego. Not ego as arrogance, but ego as identity. A man's sense of self can become deeply tied to how he is seen. Is he strong? Is he admired? Is he desired? Is he still chosen? Does he still matter? And when a relationship becomes comfortable, when the fire of early desire becomes the warmth of familiar love, some men misunderstand that change. They think comfort means failure. They think peace means boredom. They think being loved quietly means being loved less. But that is the ego's cruelest lie. Because being chosen again and again, not just in excitement but in loyalty, not just in passion but in decision, that is one of the deepest forms of love. But a man who has not healed his own worth will always mistake peace for boredom. And he will keep chasing fire, even if that fire burns down everything he built. Every man who has lived this story knows the cost. The partner who slowly becomes distant, not because she stopped loving him, but because she got tired of being compared to a fantasy. The children who feel the tension in the house. The quiet guilt. The secrets. The loneliness that follows him into the next relationship. And the next. Because the man who cannot sit with himself will never be satisfied by anyone else. The emptiness travels with him. At some point, if he becomes honest enough, he realizes every woman he chased was only a mirror. reflecting the parts of himself he refused to face. The validation he wanted was self-worth in disguise. The admiration he craved was self-respect asking to be rebuilt. The novelty he chased was his desire to feel alive in a life he had slowly stopped inhabiting. The men who finally understand this become different. Not perfect, not without desire, but conscious. They stop running from depth. They start choosing it. They have the hard conversations instead of the secret ones. They invest in the relationship they have, instead of fantasizing about the one they do not. They learn that discipline is not the absence of desire. Discipline is the mastery of it. They discover that real admiration cannot be borrowed from strangers. It has to be earned. From a life lived with integrity, from a partner who can trust them, from children who can look up to them without confusion, from a mirror they can face in the morning. One woman truly known, truly chosen, every day, by a man who has conquered himself, is not a limitation. It is rare. Because most men spend their whole lives searching, and the wisest ones eventually realize they were searching for themselves. So I want to leave you with a question, not for the comment section first, for yourself. If your restlessness was trying to tell you something, not about the person beside you, but about you, what would it say? What is the hunger that no one else can feed? And if this reached something inside you, you already know why.